Here we are at the Bowmasters doing a Legends interview with Mr. Charles Blankenship himself. Charles been a professional archer for a long time. Matter of fact, how long have you been a professional archer?
Over 30 years, I imagine.
30 years.
It's been a while. It's from the beginning of the IBO through beginning of the ASA. I shot all the Cabela's. And as far as I know, I don't think I've ever missed a ASA shoot.
Wow.
My number at the ASA is 89. And right now, active shooters, I think Alan Connor's on one's lower than mine.
He's number 51, isn't he?
Yeah, 54.
51.
51.
51.
Yeah. And you're younger than me, you probably remember. And,
Maybe not.
IBO number is 1323, so that's, that's pretty good. It's 1,322 people ahead of me.
When did the ASA start their organization?
In the early 90s, I think. First they had the trail shoots, and they had 2 or 3 of those, and they were the shoots to make. And when they started them things, his participation was good. I mean, and Wayne had a good show on, and the payback was good, and the entry fee wasn't but $40, I don't think.
I've seen some of them old videos.
Yeah,
That's
and
pretty neat.
it was a lot of fun, and you had people come from all over the country to them. I mean, and it was really the forefront of the ASA.
How did you get started in archery? How did you get involved? What interest? How did you get interested?
I had a bow. It was a little Browning 2-wheeler. And I had the game getter arrows. That's what I hunted with. And my brother, we were in construction. We had 2 crews going. And one of the guys, he hired to work with him, invited him to go to shoot a 3D. And it was in Dalton, Georgia, below us. And I'd always meet my brother on the Monday morning. He told me, he said, I done something yesterday. He said, it was the most fun I've done in a long time. I said, what? He says, 3D. I said, 3D? He said, yeah. He said, you walk through the woods and you shoot these targets. He said, you just have to figure out how far they are and you shoot at them. I said, when's the next one? He said, next weekend. So at that time, there's probably 8 or 10, or at least 5 or 6 every weekend. And after we got started, we tried to make them all. So I went with them. I walked in with a dozen arrows and my bow, and I come out with 3 arrows, and I was hooked. I said, this is a blast. I mean, everybody participated, said, well, I'm doing it to get better hunting. But that wasn't the case. Everybody's out there wanting to beat somebody.
Yeah.
So it got started, and they finally got started doing classes on it. And you can sign up in the classes and go on from there. But I was hooked, and I've been doing it ever since.
Awesome. I hear people talk about back in the day, we did this, we did that, targets were long, no binoculars. Give me a little info on that.
Well, the maximum when we started was 60 yards at the IBO, but they really, they'd stretch it some. And without binoculars, everybody carried cards. They had the card with all the animals on it. Right. After they went to McKenzie's, because McKenzie put it in the card.
I remember those cards.
When we're shooting the Pottingers, it's pretty easy because the 10s were huge. And they didn't have an 11, and then most of the body was an 8. If you hit the grass, it was a 0. But they were just a silhouette of the animal. We shot those for probably the first 3 or 4 years, and then McKenzie started making their targets. And the first one I shot was in Statesville, North Carolina. And we shot it, and they just had it sitting up there. And they said, shoot this target in between our targets. And they just wanted to see what kind of durability it had, and it held up. So the guy started producing them, and he started out with a deer target, then he went to a bear target, and then he progressed on to other targets, and he finally had a whole range, and all the clubs at home were buying them. We were shooting McKenzie's long before they were at the IBO. They had we went to one IBO at ASA, at the El Roy. We got there was one target sitting up there, the McKenzie, the feeding deer. Nobody shot it. We'd ask people, we just standing there shooting, why ain't you shooting that deer? We don't know what it is. I said, that's McKenzie. I said, that's what's going to happen in these targets. And then the IBO took them over. Next year we shot at Aurora, we shot the McKenzies. The scores sort of come down for a while. Everybody got used to them. Right. Because at 60 yards, you're shooting little targets, and it's hard without binoculars.
So in the old days, you guys did a lot of things different. I've heard Burley talk about that. He used to use lipstick.
Yeah.
I don't know what he used it for.
I used blue salt. It was to mark your arrow because the Pottingers on a good dry day, they'd hold up. They'd do pretty good. But when it got a little wet, they'd just zip through. The scores automatically went higher because you had 2 colors, red and blue. And everybody walked up, so my arrow went through there. The guy that got screwed was the guy's arrow didn't go through. So with the arrows, if you were in the center, close center, the arrows were going through. They wouldn't hold because we were able to shoot. The only rules they had to be 80 pounds, and you had to shoot 125 grain tip arrow. That was the rules. You know, it wasn't nothing. You know, and you just, you know, they put a stabilizer rule on there, and they changed it finally. So when I changed over shooting high country time, I was shooting 327 feet, and that
back in the day,
337.
Back
and that
in
was
the
quick.
day,
That was
well, you
quick.
got what, like a 34-inch draw length?
At that time, it was 32 because I hooked my release on the string itself, and I
Right.
was able to pull all the way back. But as I got older, I shrunk, and I think I learned to shoot a little bit better using the, you know, hinge and the button, and you know, that's what I'm shooting now, the button.
Sure. Now you
That's
guys,
the new terminology for the young guys.
button.
Yeah, it's for me, it's a trigger and a back tension, but for the young guys, it's a button and a hinge.
Yeah, and what,
What
they
do
call
you
this?
call it?
Well,
You're-
no, I can go either way.
Yeah.
I'm in the middle. I'm a young old guy.
Yeah, you are.
You guys made a lot of rule changes, or helped implement a lot of rule changes over the years. I've heard about the knock rule and whether you could fetch your arrow from the stake,
Yeah.
different things like that.
Yeah, we had a lot of guys, you know, they'd shoot, and you know, at one time the ASA had a rule: if you holler let down and the arrow went off, you got to reshoot that arrow. But they had a lot of people taking advantage of it. He said, I was letting down, and you know, you can't argue with them if, you know, I hope they're honest. So finally went back, if the arrow, it was propelled with a string, it was a shot arrow.
And that's still
And
the
that's
rule
in
today.
ASA and
Yes.
IBO. ISA, I think you got a minute to shoot on the second, if you're the second shooter, third shooter. IBO, you're allowed 3 lets down. The fourth arrow, you got to shoot
Yep.
it. Yeah, that's if you get that first arrow and you don't get it off, and that second one that doesn't go, then you're sitting there. This next one's got to go.
Yeah.
But I don't want to be forced
Then
to
it gets
shoot
tense.
Yeah.
I've been there quite a few times this year.
And you got buddies that with you said that's 2. You know, that helps a lot. You know.
Well, I'd rather them tell me so I know I got to
Yeah.
shoot, so they don't
But
think
the way
I'm
they
trying
say
to
it,
cheat.
though.
Yeah,
That's 2.
That's 2.
Look out.
What's in your future? How long are you going to keep shooting archery?
I'll know after this year.
You just got to go win one, I guess, huh?
Yeah, that's the secret. You know, it's been tough because I'm shooting against guys that are 50, and when I was 50, I was pretty tough. you know.
Yeah.
And I'd done pretty well in the open league, and I was already 48, 49 when the money started being in there. And I never did win one, but I got some seconds and thirds,
Right.
and was competitive. But you know, today everybody, it's a whole different world today.
Yeah,
There's
we're averaging, what, 80 shooters at an ASA?
80 shooters, and they all show up and they can shoot.
Yep.
You know, it's when before we show up, you know, well, we know we're going to finish in the top 5, but not no more. I mean, even where you're at.
Yes.
You know, it's tough.
Somebody said to me today, he said, you're not having as much luck. I feel like I'm shooting really good, but I'm shooting against 79, 80, 90 other people.
Yeah.
That's tough. It makes it
And
really
everybody's
tough.
picked it up a notch.
Yep.
I mean, it's you get a lot of people out here that's, you know, we're moving up. Like Billy McCall this year.
Yep.
He moved up, and he's one. And Billy's tough.
Yeah, he's a great
Tough from
shooter.
there, yeah.
Yes. And there's going to be a lot more good ones coming up next year. So it just keeps going on and on. Lauren Robinson shot good today,
Yep.
and he's a rookie senior pro that's moving
Yep.
up. And these guys are going to get the swing and feel of this again. So
See,
Who knows what's gonna
me and
happen?
Burley, we've been probably our whole life and career. We started with it, and it started with us. I mean, we
Right.
helped start it, and then as it progressed, the younger guys come in, and you know, we were still shooting against guys that are 10 years younger than us as we progressed on. And when it and started the senior class, after one shoot, I think Sonny Chappell come up to me. He said, "Why don't you come up to senior class?" I said, "I don't know." He said, "Jack Wallace shot, I think at that weekend, Jack Wallace shot 434 or something like that." He said, "Can you compete against that?" And I said, "No." He said, "What are you doing?" And I tried to change that year, and they wouldn't let me change it to ASA because you had to be vested in. And I was vested in the Open. So I played on that year. But next year I jumped in just tickled to death. The first tournament I shot as a senior pro won. Is in, I think, Valdosta or in Gainesville. So I was hooked. You know, I said, this is me right here. You know, so I've had a good career. I mean, all the time that, you know, the sponsors I've had, the people, it's been fun.
Yeah, and I've loved being in the senior class. I love shooting with yourself and Burley and Jackie and Randall and all those guys that have helped make the sport what it is today. And something about shooting with you guys, it's relaxing. You know how to be competitive, but have fun at the same time, and that's neat for me.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we'll see where the senior class is just getting bigger and bigger. So
Yeah.
everybody's got a place to go and
Everybody's
something to look
getting
forward to. Yeah.
And nobody's died yet. Well, we have one.
Right. So, Let's see what the rest of the year shakes out. Hopefully this isn't your last year. I'd be disappointed.
I hope I didn't either.
You can always come.
Yeah.
You can always come. So, Charles, I've enjoyed it. Thanks so much for doing the Legends interview with the Bowmasters. Appreciate it, sir.
Appreciate it.